Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple hours, along with Spence.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Gal is here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, he has his FM radio voice on.
Good morning.
Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by VMix Software, DudeInIT.com, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. I know Nick is home, so he will probably join us a little later.
Did you hear that, Nick?
Yeah, Nick.
Yeah, come on.
We're
Put the coffee on. Come on.
Anyhow, so what's going on?
I have no idea. I've been out. I didn't follow anything this week, so you're gonna tell me what's going on.
Isn't it nice?
It's great.
All right.
We had a minor distraction this week. Yeah.
Go ahead. What?
Our second grandson was born on early Monday morning. Monday morning? It's a blur to me. I just don't really know. But I got to see him Friday, and he had to spend an extra night in the hospital. Nothing was wrong. It was just a procedural thing. And but they're home, doing okay. And my older grandson, Lucas, is just absolute rip. He's doing what he's not reacting in any really negative ways that you could, but funny stuff that he does. And it's really something. Spent a lot of time with him while they were in the hospital. Pam and I spent the night there and took care of him while they were in there, because Aaron really couldn't leave. They let him go out quickly, but if he left, they wouldn't let him come back.
Aaron is your son.
My son, yeah. So in April, his wife. So he stayed with her through the whole thing until they came home, which was great.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So, in keeping with the apparent shoemaker tradition, my first grandson's name is Lucas, and my son has been a Star Wars fan and aficionado since he was 2, literally, because when he was 2 years old, my youngest daughter was born, and he answered. Somebody called the house to ask what's up with the new baby, and he answered the phone. 2 years old, and so did the baby? Yeah, what's his name? Luke Skywalker. It was a girl, but he's Luke Skywalker. So that's the joke, right? So we're thinking he's got Star Wars theme all throughout his house, the kids' rooms, all that stuff, and we're thinking, it's going to be a Star Wars name. So sure enough, they called him Lucas. And, you wouldn't know there was any connection unless you were told.
Yeah.
So the joke was, as the new baby was coming along, the code name for the baby was Lando Calrissian, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a good name.
Good name, right? So here's what they named him. They named him Landon, Landon. So if you don't know, you don't know. But if you know, it's a connection. So it's interesting.
Very nice.
Well, I thought they'll go with George. They have a Lucas, and now they have George.
Yeah, maybe they should have named him Lucas George. Yeah, something. Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. But yeah, it's good fun.
And on that note, I remember you saw that what's his name took tourists to space.
Oh yeah, yeah. I heard who's going.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
90-year-old actor William Shatner is
Mm.
slated to be part of the second crew to take the space flight in the new Shepard capsule.
That sounds right. He
That-
only goes where no man is bold. So.
Oh, that's good. Good one, Go.
That would make him the oldest person ever to be launched into space.
Right.
We're told
Before
Shatner
that
would-
was Glenn, right?
Glenn was before. It was in his 70s.
Yeah. They're told that Shatner will be on board in October for the 15-minute civilian flight. 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Similar to the last launch. What we don't know, but what would be awesome, is if he wears his Captain Kirk getup.
Nah.
Yeah, they say that the mission will be filmed for a documentary. Yeah, he's probably not going to, but that's neat. Come on, it's neat.
Yeah. It's,
If
He
anybody's
finally-
interested,
for him, it's cool as hell.
oh yeah.
I mean, he's really he was in space.
If anybody's interested, check out some of his stuff that he does. He has interview.
Yeah.
He had an interview show for a while. It was older, but it was a general interview show. But now he's been doing some interesting stuff. He just did a documentary that came out on the production of Star Trek Next Generation.
Yeah,
And it was called Trouble on the Bridge or something like that. There was an earlier one that he was not in about the original Star Trek and the subterfuge that went on the set.
no, I mean the Next Generation was not him.
No, I know that, but he's doing the documentary.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's interviewing people, and the dirt is coming out about what happened in the first 2 years of the production, and they didn't think the show was going to make it. There were people who said, "You can't do this. You can't remake an iconic show," but they pulled it off. But the first couple of years were really squirrely. They didn't know they're going to make it. There was so much fighting going on in the production of the show, and so much ill will between people. They still have it today. You hear them. There's certain people you couldn't put them in the same room, literally, and it worked out.
Kind of like politics these days.
Yeah. No, with politics, they actually meet at the bar at the end of the day, and they have a drink, and they say, "Hey, wasn't it cool what we did today?" No.
No. Yeah, I mean, I was a Star Trek fan during the original, and when the Next Generation came, I couldn't even watch it. I mean, I said that's not Star Trek. But today it's different. You know,
What are you talking about? But I can tell you, I watched. When I came to the States.
Mhm.
So I don't know if Netflix still has all of them, but Netflix had all of the Star Trek shows.
The original.
No, I'm talking about all of the shows, like
The different
Generation,
series.
DS9.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as a kid, I only watched Next Generation.
Mm-hmm.
And, back then, I always liked TV, but I was never fastidious about, making sure I see every episode, because you can't sync your life around TV, right?
Right.
So as an adult, I got chance to rewatch everything. I watched, starting with Next Generation. I watched like all of the shows that they produced, and and I remember the same reaction I had as a kid. Right, Next Generation ended, and they started DS9.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch
that?
DS9.
Yeah. What is that?
I couldn't watch it at all. It just didn't click. But then now as an adult, I watched everything, and everything is superb. It's excellent. It's
Yeah.
excellent TV. It's excellent writing. I mean, yes, there's a lot of cheesy stuff. It's still sci-fi. It's still genre. It's still there's a lot of cliches that are going on, but on the overall arc, it is fantastic TV history, and yeah,
And then there's Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest is great. It's great.
Did you watch the documentary on Galaxy Quest?
I don't think I
It
watched
just
the
came out. There's a documentary
No.
about from an
You're
anniversary
kidding.
that they had,
Yeah,
and they talked about the creation of the show and just how they have a following now with conventions that is just crazy.
a
What
show. I
people
thought
do.
it's just a movie.
No, but they have conventions just for that show, for the movie. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but it was yeah.
There are people that
Yeah,
I don't know whether you call them professional, but they play act and they go around to different
Cosplay.
events and
Yeah.
they play the alien characters. It's crazy.
No.
Yeah.
Everybody
Galaxy Quest was
everybody
great.
needs somebody to follow. Right?
Yeah. By the way, we were talking about this, Amnon. When is our convention gonna open? The C2K convention.
Waiting for the Mirage to be available. Oh, not the Mirage, the Bellagio to be available out in Vegas.
The people are yearning.
All three of them.
Oh boy.
Hey, we got William Shatner in the chat.
Yeah,
All right.
there is.
Hey, Bill.
Sounds good. He gets around.
Yeah. All right.
Just one last thing about him. Did anybody watch that show that he was in with?
Boston Legal.
No. The one, it was the reality show with.
Yeah.
Of course, I can't remember any actors' names or whatever. But they went to Japan. They went to Korea.
Oh yeah. You set me on that.
It's About Time or something like that. I forget what it was.
Yeah,
or
better late than never.
Better Late Than Never. Yeah.
Yeah.
With
Yeah, that was
got a character who played Fonzie and all. Absolutely hysterical. And he always played the like low key guy. Let's not do anything crazy. And Terry Bradshaw and
I
I'll remember
I watched
the
a
Fonz.
few episodes because of your recommendation. It's great.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah, Terry Bradshaw's insane. I mean, my favorite one was when they took him to the fake border with North Korea that they have set up like as a movie set in South Korea, and they took him to this thing, and they made them think there was an international incident starting, and they didn't know. They literally had play act. They had actors on both sides, and like somebody drops something, and somebody turns, and suddenly they're about to shoot at each other, and all that stuff. It was good.
Okay. Let's switch gears here. Tech companies have long encouraged putting listening devices in homes and pockets. That's from the Washington Post. But some are growing concerned that these devices are recording even when they are not supposed to. That's news. And they're taking their fears to the court. Thursday of last week, a judge ruled that Apple will have, 2 weeks ago, that Apple will have to continue fighting a lawsuit brought by users in federal court in California, alleging that the company's voice assistant, SIRI, has improperly recorded private conversation. He ruled that the plaintiffs, who are trying to make the suit a class action case, could continue pursuing claims that SIRI turned on unprompted and recorded conversations that it shouldn't have, and passed the data along to third parties, therefore violating user privacy. The case is one of several that have been brought against Apple, Google, and Amazon, that involve allegations of violation of privacy by voice assistants. The voice assistants are supposed to turn on when prompted, saying, "Hi Siri," for example, but the lawsuit alleges that plaintiffs saw their devices activate even when they didn't call out to the wake word. That conversation was recorded without their consent, and the information was then used to target advertisements toward them and sent on to third-party contractors to review. Daily. Didn't they come up with something for Echo that does not record, or that you can
No,
record?
Echo. Amazon allows you to see the entire history and to delete.
Okay.
You can delete. I think you can delete everything, or you can delete like specific ones.
Okay.
But still, I mean, accidentally waking up on something that sounds like the wake word for
Yeah,
the machine.
that
Right.
happens. Yeah.
A lawsuit for that?
Well, I mean, look, we're in the United States. People live on.
Turn it off.
Yeah.
Like, don't use it. That's fine. It's a lawsuit for something that just isn't perfect. I don't know. It's like trying to find sinister behavior
Yep.
behind malfunctions.
Behind everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. I am really sorry for the people suing because they live in a very scary world and I don't live in their world.
Right. It's being.
That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm hearing. But I might be wrong. I mean, maybe they have something and their paranoia is going to unveil something, but I doubt it.
Yeah, paranoia is not good. I mean, you need to be to think straight. But
can they at least be accused of indifference?
Sorry.
Can they
repeat that?
No, I mean, if the intent is what you're talking about, right? Whether
Yes.
there's intent or not, could they at least be sued for indifference, malfeasance?
I don't know.
I mean, look, for me as a technical person, I don't know exactly how everything works, but I do have a basic understanding of the flow of things and how things are processed and how things can go wrong, right? And to hear that a group of people have assembled, right, to put out a lawsuit, I hear in my head, like the scene that I'm seeing is there's this ambulance chaser lawyer, right,
Mhm.
that has some skill apparently of manipulation and emotional of emotional manipulation. Is got a bunch of people, right, so scared with, and I'm pretty sure by ignorance, not by like you need to explain how things work so somebody can feel comfortable with technology. If you do not understand it, it is troubling. Yes, there is a lot about technology that on face value it can look like magic, right? It's and I don't know, just hearing that something like this is being sued, I just wish it won't be something, it's something that'll drop fast. That's all. But the fact that they are continuing, right? The courts have allowed it. There's something of substance there. It's
Well,
worrying.
that's where I was trying to go with it, to say that, yeah, the intentions of the lawyers are to make money. You know,
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't.
Sure.
I don't think, you know, there aren't that many Aaron Brockoviches out there who are so, you know, they're dedicated to uncovering this stuff
Right.
for a good reason. But there's a lot of lawyers out there with ads. You just drive down I-85 to Atlanta, and all of the, depending on what town you're driving through, the ads will change.
Yeah.
You know, you in a motorcycle accident, were you hurt on the job? Did you have it? You know, and it's like, what's next? It's like, I think, where was it one time? It was like there were 10 times more of those ads. I think it was in Las Vegas. As you left town, if you got away from the strip, that's all it was ads about medical malpractice and all this other stuff. It's like,
right. And think who's watching, who's looking at these, right? Those who just lost everything at the casino and they want to blame someone.
Yes. Oh, somebody needs to pay.
Yeah.
Did you lose money in the casinos? Call this.
Oh, I'm sure if there was a way for them to sue, they'd do.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yes. You know, that's.
Yep.
But you think you don't have to sign
this will
terms
never
of agreement when you walk into a casino, but it's pretty well. I think the gaming laws out there pretty much protect the casinos.
This will never end. I mean, all this.
It's human nature.
Yep. But the guy you were talking about, you know, you don't know how exactly everything works, but you have an understanding.
Yeah. Listen
to this. A new article in The Verge reports that professors are increasingly seeing the rise of generation that can't understand even the basic fundamentals of how computers and operating systems work. The very concept of things like directories, folders, and even what a file is seem to baffle a generation that was raised on Google and smartphones and have no concept of what storage is or how it works. To this generation, all your stuff just goes someplace where stuff is kept.
But
I love that.
That's no difference than the previous generation. First of all, I call false.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's a lot less than the previous generation, but we are in a state today, right, where they don't need to care because it works most of the time.
Yeah.
So you need to understand how something works, right? I have zero idea, right? Because I've never put any effort. I do not understand how the car works. And so I wouldn't be able to fix anything. I mean, even if the service tells me you need to replace this unit, right? I have zero skills in figuring out on my own if they are correct or not, right?
Okay. I can see your point. Yeah.
Right. So why do they need? They don't need.
Well, I mean, but yes, they do. And wait a second. Physics professor Catherine Garland was stunned to find that her student couldn't grasp the concept of organized file storage. She asked each student where they'd saved their project. Could they be on the desktop? Perhaps in the shared drive? But over and over, she was met with confusion. What are you talking about? Multiple students inquired. Not only did they not know where their files were saved, they didn't understand the question. And when you don't know, I mean, this is sort of like, hey, I'm putting my money in the bank. Okay. Which bank? What are you talking about? Which bank? I don't know. I put it in a bank. So there are certain things that you should know, because when you want your files, you need to go where to go to get them.
But basic computer literacy isn't part of a mandatory curriculum. So if you've never thought about it, right, then you wouldn't know.
Well,
think about how, beginning with Windows 7, Microsoft created the whole idea of aliases, that you don't see the actual file path unless you go into File Explorer. You don't really see when you get that generalized documents, downloads, that screen.
Yeah.
But what you don't realize is that you don't know what the actual file path is. You don't have the verbose, C:/ back, until you find it. So
Right.
it's a
There's an
little,
abstraction. Yeah.
yeah. So it's an abstraction to make it simple, and does make it simple. But if you, I don't know where, I can't find that file. I don't know where to look.
Now you're in trouble.
Now you're in trouble. Yeah, because you need to go. You need to know how to drill
Right,
down.
but you're already talking level 3, where there is such a thing as a file and a folder.
Yep.
And I think most of the people, right, all they care is they have a document, or they have a video, or they have a song, right? They have some, or a picture. They have some content. They don't even know to call it a file. First of all, they've never worked with files and folders in an office.
It's a picture,
right?
Yeah, it's a picture.
Yeah, no,
it's a
but
video.
even the picture, it isn't meaningful to them. The file inside a folder, it's not necessarily something. It's not even school speak. It's not a document inside a binder, right? It's the paradigms are not even from their world. So why would they care?
Well, the paradigm is it's in the cloud.
Well, today they know that it goes to
Yeah.
the cloud, but that's the visual that they have. They have the video in the cloud, right? They don't it if it has zero meaning for them, right? They won't pursue it. So some, right? There are those who always want to know how something works, and they'll learn some vocabulary. But I don't think that vocabulary is even thought if you never took in one computer class. Yeah, you didn't go to a word class. You didn't go to, and none of these classes are mandatory, right? They might be an elective somewhere, but none of them are mandatory. So you'll have the middle schoolers who are geeky and nerdy, and they'll know that early on because they want to know stuff. But the rest of the group, they wouldn't be even exposed to it. So I don't think I'm not shocked. Let's put it that way.
No, not shocked, but wondering. I mean, what is this? But here, listen. It gets.
I've run into a very interesting exposure that comes from this.
Yeah.
It's where I tell people, back your machine up, buy a drive, load the software. The software may or may not do a good job of finding the critical stuff to copy. It'll go to documents, it'll go to videos, go to music, and it finds that. But I find that there are many people who have, over the years, migrated ahead with their computers and still have a folder on the D drive labeled something like work stuff.
Yep.
That was never identified by the program that's looking for the backups.
And never
so if you don't know to back that file up, that folder up, you're screwed, because it's a leftover from some previous, I always had it and I always copied it over, and that's where it goes. So I've run into that a couple of times where I always go out and look at the C drive to see, is there anything here that they don't know they're not backing up? And sure enough, I find stuff.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, Hannah, my daughter, goes to state, and it's electrical engineering. So you would think that, I mean, she knows something about computers. They are told to save everything on the desktop.
Oh.
They are told to do so. So when they sign in on a given computer, then the desktop, quote unquote, is their own desktop.
Well, what operating system are they running?
I'm not sure. I think it's still Windows.
So maybe that doesn't have the impact like it does on.
Well, no. Impact. You're talking about impact.
Yeah.
So during COVID, and they always tell them to back it up to make a copy also on a stick, on a thumb drive. During COVID, there were some times where she would go to the lab and do some work and leave right away. When a semester turned over and she wanted to go and get her work. She went in, she couldn't find her desktop. There was nothing. And she called me and she said where to look. And I said, I don't know how they arranged the network, but look everywhere you can. She had to call IT, and IT looked into it, and a couple of days later told her that while all the students were out, they cleaned up all the shared drives, and her folder is gone. And there were a few documents that she really needed that were not there anymore. She had to recreate. If you know how to where to save it, you save it somewhere else, not on the desktop.
Yeah, but what she's describing,
Yeah,
that would have happened to her even if she went to the documents folder and put it because
possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, she said
yeah,
that
that's something else. That's being
in the
managed.
documents, she said she found some old documents that she already had on the thumb drive, but the desktop was cleaned up.
Yeah.
And I think they cleaned it because it gets too crowded. Come on, everything to save in the.
They don't care. They don't
I
care
know.
what goes on the
But here,
desktop,
listen to this
but
now.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
gradually, Garland came to the same realization that many of her fellow educators have reached in the past 4 years. The concept of file folders and directories, essential to previous generations, understanding of computers, is gibberish to many modern students. The new generation of students see storage as a giant laundry basket where everything is just thrown in and you go get what you need when you need it. One
Right.
professor now incorporates an additional 2-hour lecture and demo in their project just to teach new students how things like directories work in computer system, which is great. Teachers worry that students, here's the thing, will be ill prepared for professional environments, especially STEM fields that require rigid organizations to keep volumes of data organized. But some professors seem to think that they'll eventually they'll have to surrender to how the young do things.
Yeah, I call bullshit on the professor, and I'll tell you why.
Well, okay.
I'll tell you why. It's all about having a better search engine for your data instead of being a librarian of your data. It's all about finding the relevant content. So these professors, they're old school, and they're thinking the only way that this data will be accessible is if it will be cataloged meticulously while being stored, which is one way of looking at it. But the kids that they're talking about, right, they've lived in an era that when they think about something, they go to a search engine, they search for it, and most of the time they find it. And so that just means that there's a better way. There's a different way. Forget better. There's a different way.
A different
right?
way.
There's a different way.
Right.
And why is the old way better? It's not necessarily better. It's just different. And the real question is, what is effective? What works long term, and what works to bring the results? And so, with everything, you have disadvantages, right? And there's a disadvantage with using just search only, right? But yes, they need to learn the skill. Will they master the skill? Most of them.
No,
won't.
we're not talking
I
about
think
mastering.
even if it's just an awareness of it, so that if you know that, hey, it's not magic behind what you're doing. There's actually there is a logic and a structure to it. So how does that structure work? You don't have to be able to say, well, go find this file that got lost. They could, but at least they know that they're, and you're right, Lyle, but it's saying it's us, our generation that looks at this stuff and understands the hazard of it. I think that's probably awareness. When I was doing flight training years ago, they took away the requirement that you had to actually go into a spin in the plane. It's called spin awareness. You didn't actually go into a spin. They taught you what to expect and what to do if it happens. And I told the instructor, I said, "Damn it, I want to do it. I don't want to be experimenting when I'm in the spin if I can get it right." So we went up and we did spins, and I practiced it. And I practiced getting into the spin and getting out of the spin. And it's like, this is.
Yeah, but how many, but what, according to what Gal is saying, and I tend to agree a little bit, how many pilots in learning want to do that?
That's the thing.
That's the problem.
But at least you're taught spin awareness.
Well,
so here's why you don't want to stall. Here's why you want to make sure your angle of attack is right, power and all that. What goes into it and why?
Yeah.
But I just had to say, I need to experience this because I'll be scared out of my freaking mind if it happens to me and I don't know what to do. So that was the thing. I needed to prepare, be aware. If they're just aware, hey, if you can't find the file, here's the tools you can use to go find it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they're smart enough to figure it out. Give them a process; they'll figure it out. They'll get it.
Mm-hmm.
They won't sit back and say, "I can't find it," and give up.
Right.
So, yeah.
Now, look, the article, right, talks about what? Talks about professors, teachers in college, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I agree, right, that their students, they need to understand these concepts, right? And the fact that they get to that stage, they get to college without knowing that, is, I think it's really reflecting on where they're coming from, and the education system isn't putting any weight on what's really important, as usual.
It's right? Too easy.
It's something we're dealing with on everything, right? Not just how computer works,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
On basic sexual education, basic hygiene. It's like let's start there. let's start at Maslow's triangle pyramid at the bottom, right? So
basic manners.
Yeah.
Decorum. It's just it's yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's another thing that kids have grown up without really learning. Yeah, I blame the system and their parents.
Well, their parents may not know it either.
Yeah, that's why the system needs to help, right?
Yeah.
But
so that's why
the parents need one thing. They don't need to be educated on knowledge. They need to be
aware.
The only good thing they can give their kids, right, is to push them to do better,
mm-hmm.
right? And to focus on the positive. And that is one thing that is lacking in a lot of places.
And you're right. Instilling that value in them for everything that they do makes a huge difference.
Yeah. The next thing I would say is question everything, right? Question everything, but with critique, not with, it's all bullshit, right? It's questioning, understanding, critical thinking. We talked about it a lot last week after the show. So, and yeah, critical thinking, it's totally lacking, and no school. I don't think, I don't even know if in other countries is teaching critical thinking.
There's a few isolated universities that's like their mantra. They teach, but they're so small, and they don't get a lot of publicity.
I mean, this is what's great to see, that this one professor is doing a 2-hour explanation about file folders and storage and what it means and all that. Like you said, Gal, you don't need the students to be data organizers or librarians, but
right,
you need to understand it this is
Wait a
like,
second. Can I pay somebody to do that for me?
yeah.
No,
Right.
worse than that. Oh, I don't know where where it's saved. My dad does it for me.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Those days are over, let me tell you.
yeah.
For me, anyway.
Yep. All right. Let's see what else we have here before we go to specials. So we were talking about iPhone 13 last week that it was introduced. The iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max. What is it? Has faster A15 Bionic chip. Bionic chip? Is this like
probably some marketing name they use for. This is Apple we're talking about, right?
But remember now, here's what's important about it. It has 3 all new cameras.
Mm.
When are they going to call it a camera with a phone? That new camera has a great phone built in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the phone function has become a side effect.
Yeah.
An afterthought.
It's going to be, let's rate the best cameras, the cameras with the best voice quality.
Well, first of all,
Yeah.
it's a camera-equipped computer.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It has an improved display with up to 120 hertz ProMotion high refresh rate display that can go as bright as 1000 nits, whatever nits mean. NITS.
Yeah, nits. It's a light light emission.
Is this like watts
measurement?
Like I have a 500 watt light bulb.
It is. If I remember correctly, it's equivalent to candlelight.
Yeah. All right. The iPhone 13 Pro will start at $999, while the iPhone 13 Pro Max will start at $1,099.
There's a
now.
Sorry, lumens is
lumens.
candle. Yeah.
And they have OLED screens on both models. And they are the same size as last year's at 6.1 and 6.7 inches, but with slightly smaller notches that should allow for more space in the iOS status bar. Apple says the phones have an all-new 3-camera system. They repeat. The ultra-wide should offer better low-light photography, and the telephoto now goes up to 3x zoom, enabling 6x optical zoom across the 3 cameras. All 3 cameras now have night mode, and there is a new macro mode for photographing subjects at just 2 centimeters. Most of the article is written about the cameras. Again. So, I don't know.
I stumbled across on YouTube a channel where the guy is a phone repair specialist, and he does short videos on stuff that he gets sent to him.
Yeah.
And some of the crazy situations that he finds. People will send, my phone doesn't work. Sends it, it's basically an empty case with nothing inside of it. Just things like this. It's crazy. He says, what did they mean by this? And he'll show how he fixed it, what had to go into it. It is possible. Mainly, it's like some of the glass-backed ones where the glass breaks and you have to separate it and all. He shows you the whole process.
How do you fix an empty case?
He has components. He can actually fix it. He can make it work. But it's he's got like a whole library of components. But the point was, he got one in. The guy said, "I'm sending you my iPhone. I think it was a 12 Max or Pro." Yeah. He gets it, and he looks at it. He's looking at the cases. It doesn't look right. opens it. It's fake. A fake iPhone 12.
Wow.
He opened it up. He says, and it opened different. It wasn't normally it opens like a kind of like a book. This opened from top to bottom. And he said, I'm going to open this up. And he's looking inside. He goes, I'm not touching this thing. And he says, I don't want to go tell this guy because he bought this phone somewhere and he used it for a little while and started to act up. And he said, it's not an iPhone. It's not an Apple product. That's like, wow. I was right. Incredible.
Wow.
Well, that's kind of scary. But yeah, I forget. I don't remember what his handle was on YouTube, but it's fascinating because he'll show the stuff that people send in to be fixed. Pretty crazy.
All right, you ready for specials?
I'm ready, and we have today a new special offer. If you're tired of all the nonsense with social media advertising, we're going to solve that problem. We're going to go old school. So where do you want to have your message? Where do you want to put it? This space for rent. Any place you want, we'll put it out there. So we have a way of displaying your message on Niagara Falls. If you like, on the side of a SpaceX ship as it takes off, we use laser technology to project it on the ship. And Amnon, we're going to soon we'll have your face smiling down on us from the moon, which as soon as we get our first ship up there. And the animal advertising was going to be very popular. So if you're tired of social media advertising. Okay. So today we depart a little bit from normal. We touch on Microcenter and Newegg, but I also want to introduce a company that I came across that I've now purchased a few products from. It's not a tech company per se, but they use technology to their benefit and produce some interesting products.
Nice.
All right. So it's Computers 2K Now specials for September 26th. And we start with Microcenter. Now, one thing about Microcenter is it is a retail store. A lot of their specials are in store only. There are locations around the country. You can get most of the stuff that they sell mail order. So be aware, this is really just a shopping guide per se, not this, I got to have that specific thing. So make sure you look to see. Some of this stuff says in-store only, the specials. It doesn't mean you can't get it online. You can. But these are draw ads to get you in the store. The same product is available online, but just might be a little more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, the first one, I left it in here just simply because of what it was. Raspberry Pi 0W for $9.99. And in-store, it says unavailable online. But you may be able to get it online. It may be not available at that price. What is this? What is the Raspberry Pi 0W? What's the vintage of that generation?
Is that 0W? I think it's the current one, no?
It's the current one? I would think so. I don't think they would, yeah. So $9.99. I mean, if that's basic, it doesn't come with any accessories.
Yeah, the first Zero was $5.
Yeah. So they do have some deals on Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7 processors. The Ryzen 5 Premier 3.7, 6-core, 259, save 40. And they have the Ryzen 7 3.8, 8-core for 349, save 100. Now it's an in-store. But they do have an AOC 23.8-inch HDMI monitor for $149, and that's in stock and available online. Got some deals on, I never heard of this brand. It's called Inland Professional. They make SSDs, 2.5-inch SSDs, 512 gig SSD for $49, save 70. And they have a 1 terabyte for $94, save 55. So maybe this might be a good alternate brand if you're looking for something based on the disinformation on some of the stuff that's being sold. Microcenter 256 gig USB 3 flash drive for $21.99. It's 13 off. Got an AOC 19-inch monitor for $119 in stock, available for to be ordered online. I mentioned this next one because you don't see brother stuff advertised. It's every week now. I go through. There's just no brother stuff out there, and I can't really figure that out except supply chain. But this is a good printer. Now, this is not a sale. This is probably list price. It may even be a little higher. But this is if you're going to buy a laser printer for a true multi-purpose, multi-function printer, I can't recommend the brother stuff enough. This is the L2550DW duplex wireless laser multifunction. It's got a good document feeder. You can put in a high capacity cartridge in it. It just all around. I have two of these. I have a non-multifunction high-speed business printer, and I have one of these, but much older generation that I purchased. Very happy with both of them. They've been there was some wood to knock on, not composite. I got to knock on actual wood. But I would suggest that if you can easily find a brother, that I would consider that. Canon is also good for lasers. HP lasers, I don't know. I've never had one. I've had them in an office setting, larger machines, and they seem to work fine. But in a home setting, I don't know. I've never had one. Got an Intel Core i7 Coffee Lake. What a weird name. Processor for 179, say 320. Wow, what's wrong with this processor?
Nothing. That's the
nothing.
one.
It's 9700.
Yeah.
So that would
That's
be like
older.
3 years old, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, but still,
probably
that's a
great.
deal for an
No,
i7.
that's a good processor, yeah.
Yeah, it says in store only, unfortunately. So I'm not. You're going to drive up to Fairfax, Virginia to get it?
I'm wondering if it will take Windows 11.
Good question. Maybe that's why it's cheap. So yeah, interesting.
Because they were talking about the 98 edition.
Eventually, I'm going to break down and build a new machine. But this one I have now is still working fine for me for everything I do. If I get back into video editing again, I'll probably need to refresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't. This machine works fine for everything that I do right now. Okay, that's Microcenter going to Newegg. We've got a deal on a Vox Lab Polaris 3D printer, LCD resin printer for $109, which is
3D,
a promotion
3D
deal.
printing.
What's that?
3D printer.
3D printer. Yeah, 3D printer. Now, it's hard to say
That
the
is
size of
cheap.
this, and I know size matters when you're looking at 3D printer because that's the size determines the total size of the object you're printing. So the larger the format of the printer, the larger potential 3D printed object. So I would guess this is pretty small based on the picture. It looks like it doesn't have a very big operating area to build it, but it's interesting to look at. It's normally 159, so it's a $50 off.
Remember when these started at 10,000?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. My son did a Kickstarter purchase of a laser etching machine, and it took him over a year to get it. And he got it. He still uses it. He uses it to etch wood and glass and does pattern work and all that. He's actually, I think he's buying a second one. He talked about it. But he's also on I forget what the other product was. He's on a Kickstarter for another one. He's waiting for it to get shipped. He's been waiting over a year. I've got an Intel Core i9, 10,900K. That's a model number?
10900. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the other one,
10900.
9700. This is 10900.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think now it's the 12,000
Yeah.
series
So-
or 13,000 that's out. And so 10 means it's like a few generations back.
Yeah.
It's
So
still
$499.
it's a fantastic. Yeah.
It's
A good
still
processor.
it's
But
still
the problem with the Core i9 is they're power hungry, right? Really
Ah.
power hungry.
Like a dictator would be power hungry.
Probably.
Okay. I've got a Amazfit GTS Smart Watch, 7-day battery, 1.65 diagonal screen for $149. That's $30 off the regular price. a Wavelength universal docking station, $64.99. They sometimes have, you'll see prices advertised here, and then you can have a code that will take it even further down. But always check out, make sure you look at the codes on these things. Sometimes you can really get a better deal there. They'll have a sale price, and then they'll have a price with code, which will make it even lower.
Right.
So this is a good USB 3. Looks like it has DVI and HDMI, plus a bunch of USB 3 and USB 2 generation slots in it. I'm not sure what else, maybe sound, I don't know. But $64.99, and that's normally $159. So I don't know about the quality of that product. Western Digital Elements 12 terabyte USB 3 for $249. Didn't we have one of these last week? I don't remember what the price was. It might be similar. It's so you can get it even cheaper than this $249, I think, with a code. So you might be able to get it down to $200. Oculus Quest 2 advanced all-in-one virtual reality headset, 128 gig for $299. Promotional deal. Doesn't say sale. But how is that as a price, Doll, for this particular?
I think it's the base price. Well, you know what? It's a 128 gigabytes, so it might be a bit cheaper, but it's the price. It's not like above for sure. I don't know if it's the promotional deal probably means you're getting something with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, maybe a case, or maybe, I don't know,
bundle,
cables or something. That would probably be the promotion, because I think price wise, it's, you know what, it might have been 350, and now 300 is like it's a fun system, but understand that you need a Facebook account to use it. You can create one just for it, right? But think about that in advance, because once you're starting to purchase things for it, right, it's tied to that account.
Yes, and you advocated that you should actually set up a new account for it. Don't use your current Facebook account, right?
Not only that, I am saying that for everything.
Yeah.
You watch YouTube, have a separate account for YouTube than the one that you use for your Gmail, right? Yes, it's a lot more convenient to use everything with one account, but no, make it an effort. Start separating your accounts, or understand that when you do not separate those accounts, just data is accumulated per account, and they learn a lot more about you, and they have more control about data about you. That's all.
Yep.
It's just about literacy. It's not about paranoia. It's not... but yeah, just understand that. Especially if you're going to pay for something. Let's say Android phones, right? And now most of our listeners already have their account set up. But if you have a family, right, every purchase for a phone is per account. So if you want to purchase Android software, I would recommend do it on a dedicated Android software account. And this way you can share that account with all of your family's phones, right? And it's not like something illegal or anything. It's just about correct managing. You're managing stuff for the household, right? So things like that. Think about every account being tied, what it's going to be tied to. Yeah, I digress. So sorry for...
No, it's a good idea. I actually have a throwaway account that whenever I sign up for stuff, like sign up to get a newsletter, if I do that, I typically don't. But all the weird stuff that requires an email address, a one-time purchase, sometimes you have to have an email address. So I use that, and I check it every once in a while, but it is just filled with crap. I mean, it just automatically deletes over time. So,
the easiest thing in the world is use your email. Just add a plus and some description to it. It still gets to your email,
right?
But
and
you will be able to discern
where it came from,
where it came, and it allows you to create a new account, right? So you're not using the same email.
All right, we have a interesting deal here. It's called the Magic Life Smart Light Bulb, 60-watt equivalent. They're A19 multicolor 7-watt bulbs, Wi-Fi controlled with an app for $20, $5 a bulb. It's normally $31.95. So if you want to play around with this stuff, I have a couple of really weird off-brand bulbs that I bought years ago. I just used them around the holidays, called Jinvu Smart. Still works. I use it. Interesting, because I have holiday decorations on the porch, and I put these in the 2 lanterns that are out there. So when the Christmas lights are on, these are red. But when the Christmas lights go off at night, they're white lights for security, which I always have lights on the porch. So it's very convenient. And they were, I think I paid like $15 a piece for them back when I bought them. But good deal. Next one is interesting. Wireless car charger for your car. It's got a wireless charge pad and a bracket to hold the phone. It says air vent holder. I wonder if that wouldn't be putting a little bit too much weight on the air vent. I don't know. But if it mounts other ways, or if the air vent mount is sturdy enough, or your air vents are sturdy enough, this could be a cool thing. But $17.99, and it's normally $27.12. Usually those weird numbers mean something, but
until you break an air vent in the car, you will use it. But then
that's right.
You will
I'm
not
just thinking
put
if
anything else on it.
It's got a charging coil in it. I don't know
Yeah.
what that would weigh.
I know.
Plus,
but think
plus you
about
got
it. Unless it's winter and the air vent is cooling out hot air, right? Cool air is great for the phone being stuck there.
Yeah,
right?
to cool the charging. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about the cord? Because obviously it's got to have a cord plugged into a power source.
Yeah, well, that goes down. I don't see a problem.
No, I don't see it anywhere. I didn't click through to see what it was like. And Amnon, this is for you. I know that you need a new chair.
Yeah. So
this is a great deal on the Bonzi home gaming chair. And I picked the color just for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought you'd like that 122.55. It's normally $300. So
I went and I looked at some of those, and that lumbar support is so cheesy.
It's just like a soft bolster that sticks in there. It doesn't inflate or anything, right?
It's just hanging on those straps. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, keep going.
All right. So I mentioned there was a company that I found them on Newegg, of all places, and I looked at them, and they sell, it's called Tack Life. And I've purchased several automotive tools from them, torque wrenches and a few other things. And they amazingly sell a lot of interesting stuff. And this is just, you can buy it on Newegg, and they will show the price on Newegg. It'll show this is either fulfilled by Newegg or fulfilled directly from Tack Life. And you can figure out which is the best price. But they make a whole catalog of tools. Mm-hmm. Automotive tools, they have outdoor stuff, they have construction tools, but weird stuff too. They have a bill counter. Are you a drug kingpin that needs to count money, Amnon? Here it is. This will count your money for you. I mean, it makes it very interesting stuff. And so far, from the stuff that I bought, I'm really impressed with the quality of it.
Go one by one.
One by one. All right. So they have a whole series of those compact jump starters, from very basic up to one that's one that will make you coffee. I mean, literally, it depends on the type you want, what you want it to do. Do you want to have all kinds of other capability, USB-C and all these other things, chargers, 110-volt inverters, all this stuff. What do you want? Right? They make different versions of it, and the prices are good. They have a rotary tool kit comparable to Dremel. I've got the bill counter. They've got retractable extension cords. They have retractable hoses. I'm amazed at what this company sells. And they have a mantra, is that we want to do this right. It's not the cheapest, but just based on, and they said they do have, their philosophy is design build. They design, somebody else builds. and they have a tight control on the quality of the stuff. They have a scroll saw. They've got a pressure washer. They have a pool cleaning robot that runs around on the bottom of your pool. Fire pits, battery powered tools, blowers, hole saw kits, socket sets, impact tools. I mean, they're just electrical sensors. It's amazing. Bike locks. But some of the stuff that I saw that was really interesting, like they have a motorized lift table, a couple of different sizes for business. They've got a really nice keypad here for $99. It's a deadbolt keypad with fingerprint reader. And I put one of these in for a customer, paid a lot of money for it, not this one, but and wound up, it was so bad, they had to replace it once with a different model to find one that actually worked right. And they were upwards of the $200 range. But if this works well, I mean, can't say, don't go by these prices because there's always deals. Shop vacs, dehumidifiers. I just was so surprised by their line of products. I might try a belt sander. I bought a belt sander at a garage sale. That turned out that
I wonder how they are with warranties.
And that's the other thing that I checked. I did a lot of reading about them, and I looked at the comments about them on Newegg. If the people had a problem with the tool, they replaced it. Just things like that I was impressed with. It seems solar panels. They have a solar panel kit. They have what's this interesting thing here? Portable power station, inverter, DC power supplies for a shop bench. Like if you do a lot of electronics work and you need to have a regulated power supply, like I need clean 5 volts, I need clean 12 volts, so whatever you're doing, they make that too. Electric lawnmowers, battery powered lawnmowers. They have a corded one and they have a battery one. I encourage people to take a look at them anyway, because they seem to have, like I said, the prices are not super cheap. You can go out there and find really cheap knockoff stuff. But I was so impressed by this company that it's worth a look. I bought, like I said, torque wrenches from them and some other hand tools. I bought 2 half-inch drive torque wrenches. One goes up to 150. One goes up to 250. And the reason I bought the 250 one is because the lug nuts on the truck, on the camper, are something like 160, 160 foot-pounds. And I needed a torque wrench that I could use both as a breaker bar and as a torque wrench. So I bought the 250 foot-pound torque wrench, half-inch drive. So I'll let you know. I'm looking at some of the other things here.
I'm seeing here the lawnmower.
Yeah.
Must add 2 to cart. You can't just buy one.
What? Really?
It says must add
2 to cart. I don't know what that means, but find a neighbor who knows an electric. There's a development that I have a customer in that I work at their house, and they have postage stamp lawns out front, tiny. That it's so small that the only way you can get a lawn company to come in there is if you tied it together with a bunch of neighbors. So they all have these little electric lawnmowers for cutting their grass, which takes like 4 minutes to cut it. But yeah. So yeah, I just once in a while you run across something that looks impressive, and so I did drill down on some of the products, and the pictures that they have of like a person using the pressure washer on their deck, you could tell was photoshopped.
Oh,
yeah. So because the size of the pressure washer compared to the person who was using it was not accurate. So oh well,
it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
So that's it for Computers 2K Now specials for, gosh, it's September 26th already.
Yep.
2020.
And remember, if you want to look at those specials again and download it, it's computers2know.com/specials, and you can download the PDF.
Yeah, you need
for a
to
week.
if you need to ask for a quote for getting your logo on William Shatner's spacesuit, you need to send it soon because we've got him on the hook. We've got space. We just have to make sure we can guarantee that we'll get it on there for you.
Yep. All right. Microsoft's new flat price version of its office productivity software will arrive on October 5th. Remember, that's if you just want to buy and you don't want to get 365. Just like in the older days when you bought Office 2007, 2003, 2010. You buy one and you keep using it. Of course, there are no updates or upgrades to the next version, but you can use that. Is it just for one machine?
It's always for 3 machines with them.
Office, and one for personal use. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't mention it here, but you're right. It's always for 3 use. Now here we go back to iPhones and Apple stuff. A security researcher has published details about 3 iOS 0-day vulnerabilities. Remember, we talk about 0 days. That means there's no patch for it. It's right now. It's new.
In the wild.
Claiming that Apple has failed to patch the issues, which they first reported to the company earlier this year. Going by the pseudonym of Illusion of Chaos, the researcher has published their findings on Russian blogging platform Haber and has released proof of concept code for each vulnerability on GitHub. And it includes a vulnerability in the gamed daemon that can grant access to user data such as Apple ID emails, names, auth token, and grant file system access. The bottom line here is just be aware that there is such thing and Apple did not fix it yet. A vulnerability in the NE helper daemon that can be used from within an app to learn what other apps are installed on a device. An additional vulnerability in the NE helper daemon can also be used from within an app to gain access to a device's Wi-Fi information. These type of news always get me because it always takes me back to the days when Apples don't get any malware or virus or anything like that. Any Apple device is safe to use.
Yeah, but
They-
that's always been just a misconception.
Oh, of
because
course.
The
Oh, yeah.
first thing,
Yeah.
what was the first thing you do with an Apple when you got it, especially up until Apple, the iPhone 4, you will jailbreak it. What does that mean? You hack it. It's hackable. It's
Yep.
immediately, right? So,
Yep.
yeah.
So be aware. Now, stop using it? No. Chances are that it'll happen to you. It's just like, a lot of people with PCs don't have antivirus. I don't need it. I don't get viruses. Well, it's fine. It's not going to happen at once to everybody. So,
I don't know those computer things. I don't trust them. Don't use them.
here is something else for professionals to worry about. A collection containing data about more than 700 million users believed to have been scraped from LinkedIn was leaked online this week after hackers previously tried to sell it earlier this year in June. The collection obtained by The Record is currently being shared in private Telegram channels in the form of torrent files containing approximately 187 gig of archived data. Remember last week we were talking about Telegram becoming a platform for hackers and dark web. The Record analyzed files from the collection and found the data to be authentic. Data points such as LinkedIn profile names, LinkedIn ID, LinkedIn profile URL, location information, town, city, country, and email addresses. While the vast majority of the data points contained in the leaks are already public information and pose no threat to LinkedIn users, the leak also contains email addresses that are not normally viewable to the public on the official LinkedIn site. So there are no passwords and no social security, whatever other. It's stuff that's kind of known, but still, it's your privacy. Be aware. What else? What else?
Uh, nothing. Oh, I'll tell
there was
you
an
what.
interesting.
It's not tech, but it's. Have you seen Foundation has dropped the Asimov-based TV series
Oh.
from Apple?
What do you mean dropped?
It started. They started the showing. 2 episodes have been aired.
What show is it?
Foundation. Asimov's
right.
Foundation.
Yeah. Oh, no, I got to find it. Yes.
Yeah. It's I watched the first 2 episodes. It's slow, but it's beautiful, and I think it's well made, and I want to see more. So I like it.
So it's available on Apple TV?
On Apple, yeah.
Only? Yeah.
Apple Plus, Apple. I don't remember how they call it. Yeah.
Apple Plus.
No, Disney Plus, Apple something.
Yeah, Apple TV Plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plus what?
Plus what? Plus one.
Yeah.
Apple TV plus money.
I'm guessing it's the only reason today to buy an Apple product.
No.
Yeah. I still have an original first generation Apple TV. I don't even know if it still works, but I still have one. I used to use it a lot before I got a Roku. But you don't need you can watch it you can just subscribe to the Apple TV service. You can get it that way. Yeah. You don't need a Apple TV.
No, when you buy a new product from them, you get like a year's.
Yeah, you get it built in.
I mean, you're already paying too much for something, so.
Yeah.
All right. This is kind of disturbing, but maybe understanding. I can understand it, but you go back. I go back and forth on this. The FBI refrained for almost 3 weeks from helping to unlock the computers of hundreds of businesses and institutions hobbled by a major ransomware attack this summer. Even though the Bureau had secretly obtained the digital key needed to do so. This is according to several current and former U.S. officials. The key was obtained through access to the servers of the Russia-based criminal gang behind the July attack. Deploying it immediately could have helped the victims, including schools and hospitals, avoid what analysts estimated was millions of dollars in recovery costs. But the FBI held on to the key with the agreement of other agencies in part because it was planning to carry out an operation to disrupt the hackers, a group known as Are Evil. And the Bureau did not want to tip him off. Also, a government assessment found the harm was not as severe as initially feared. The planned takedowns never occurred because in mid July, Rival's platform went offline without US government intervention, and the hackers disappeared before the FBI had a chance to execute its plan, according to current and former officials. The previously unreported episode highlights the trade off law enforcement officials face between trying to damage cyber criminal network and promptly helping the victims of ransomware. So why do I go back and forth? First of all, what do you mean disrupt them? You disrupt them, they go and they start working from somewhere else. It's not like if you have the code and you can find out who they are, you can go and arrest them. Because you really don't know where they are. There are so many variables in here that, say, look, we pay taxes so you can operate, FBI. If there are businesses here that are suffering, schools, okay, they can maybe wait a little bit. Hospitals, go and fix it. If I would go and unlock everything and fix it and let the hospital gloat about the fact that, hey, we just went to a backup and restored everything. Why withhold such a thing? And in this case, something happened that they couldn't even do what they were trying to do. Yeah, that's not their fault. I don't know. We're told that they went out without any intervention from our government, but who knows? So it's kind of disappointing, right? No,
Um, I don't think we know enough. That's my
no, that's
real
true
problem,
too. Yeah,
right? I understand why whoever published the article
yeah,
because they want to start a discussion about whether it's right or wrong.
right.
But the thing is, I don't think we know enough. Um, whether it's right or it's wrong, I don't know. Uh,
I don't know.
Tipping off the criminal, yeah, I understand that. I wasn't in the situation, so I'm not putting myself into it. One thing that did annoy me in the article was one sentence. Is like a further analysis showed that the harm wasn't that big,
Yeah,
and that's bullshit,
yeah,
right?
you're right.
Somebody, if it doesn't hurt you, then it's not that big. If it
Yeah.
hurts you, then it's the biggest thing in the world. So this is just like it didn't affect anybody we care about, right? That's
Yeah,
what it means.
and
Other
that's
than
not
that,
true.
it's
I
like,
agree.
yeah. And what you know in hindsight, right, and what you
Yeah.
decide on the spot is always different. So
Hindsight is
maybe
always
maybe
2020.
yeah, maybe we will get a nice Hollywood movie out of it.
Who's going to be the star? That's the question.
Yeah, that's
Who
a
will be
good
the
question.
star?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
Gal, is there anything new with streaming with
I mean,
anything that's worth mentioning?
I've nothing new that I know. I've been dealing with my home system for a while, tinkering and fixing things and updating part of the system. And the only thing I can say is there is the community around managing your own libraries, right? I'm not even talking of where the libraries come from, right? Not talking about whether it's pirated or you just make copies of your own owned Blu-rays, for example, right? That's something that exists a lot. It's always getting updated. It's always getting the community so live around it. There are, and it's nothing new, but it's they're always innovating. There are websites dedicated completely to cataloging posters for movies and TV shows, right? When you organize your library, then you want.
What do you mean organize your library? It's just a search engine.
No, I'm not part of that school. Besides, when you want to make your own Netflix copy, okay, you want the images to be represented the way you want. So you get movie posters that are similar to what was released with the original release of the movies, whether on Blu-ray or on cinema posters. But you also get a huge amount of creative force, people making their own posters, sometimes based on art from within the movie, but sometimes just creating their own art.
Being creative.
Being so creative that is absolutely amazing. So if you're into cinema and you want to spend some time on the net, look for I'll give you a few keyword searches and look for those. Look for minimalist movie posters, right? And you will see creativity. So a poster for Jaws, for example, right? It will be a completely blank, opaque, single color, something like an aquatic color, and you'll see just a silhouette of a lady swimming, right? Stuff like that. So and they're all very, very what's the word? Shanun. They're all very sorry, lost the word.
That's okay.
Yep. They're all very not only unique, they're also very smart. They're also very intricate in depicting the vibe of the movie. And so, yeah.
I noticed a interesting confirmation, I should say, of a trend with the whole streaming concept and buying a la carte and all that. And the companies now have figured out that, we're going to offer these streaming services that contain some number of available shows to watch or stream. But all of our new content is going to go on the plus side, Discovery Plus. You were a follower of this show. Well, there are new episodes, but they're only available on Discovery Plus. And then you'll see, I ran into something last night for the first time and watching a series of movies that were made called Jesse Stone. It was Tom Selleck as a detective.
What?
Jesse Stone.
Okay.
It's called. There were, I think, 10 made-for-TV type movies that were produced from 2005 until 2015 with Tom Selleck as a police chief, and not Blue Bloods. But to watch those, it was a smattering of where you could find those on stream. They weren't all available in one place. So the last couple episodes that I found are on Crackle. And Crackle now will do this thing where when the commercial comes up, you can choose, would you like a 30-second interactive commercial or would you like a 2-minute staged commercial? You pick. And the interactive commercial, in order to get back to the show, you have to watch this thing. And during it, it has opportunities for you to click. It puts up QR codes. This product And at the end, finally, the little bar lights up, back to content. So
is it
isn't that
really
interesting?
30 seconds?
30, oh, it says 30 seconds, but it actually
Yeah,
takes a little longer.
But the moment it's interactive, then it's longer. You spend
Yes.
the 2 minutes anyway.
You do. Well, not quite,
Yeah.
but the 2 minutes, I mean, if you want to take a break and go get a soda or something and come back, 2 minutes is good because you know it's 2 minutes. But I thought this was very interesting. And Pam was like, who does this? Who wants this? I said, this is the world. This is now you're making this now just like what people see in social media.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting trend coming out now. First time I've seen it. But wait for individual new series or groups of series to only be available. The Discovery Plus is a great example of this thing. Premium content over and above what you're already paying for,
right,
on the next tier. So
it's
add
like,
the price.
It's like freemium software. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you'll see now the prices are normalizing to the point where they're almost as much as getting cable TV service.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's usually the case. Yeah.
So I'm still doing good because we don't have a lot of we pay for Philo, and I have just internet service from Spectrum. So those are the only things we actually pay for.
What happened to AT&T in your neighborhood?
No, they're out there. I'm just me being ready. I'm going to sink that piece of interduct in my lawn before I let them come and put the cable in. I saw somebody put a word out. It was on next door for our neighborhood. Somebody put out a picture that shows their AT&T fiber cable was cut by their landscapers.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, can anybody help us? AT&T can't be here for 10 days.
Oh, jeez.
It's like, and so people wrote back to say, well, that's fiber. It really is kind of a specialty thing. You got to have special tools to splice it. It's not like we can just run it, come out and
twist it together.
Put a wire nut on it.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh no, what are we going to do?
Well, for now, right? I mean, how long did it take until you as a professional working with these tools at work, right, got an RJ45 crimper at
Right.
Oh no, I realize I'm not faulting them. I'm just saying that the person came out and asked, is anybody out there? And people said, yeah, I do this as a living, but I can't bring the equipment
right
home.
because the equipment is big and
Yeah.
well, I agree.
Wait a second, though. I mean, the equipment for splicing fiber is not that big anymore.
No, but it's expensive.
It's the same, right? That's what I was going to say.
They make field connectors. You can buy the tools to strip the cable. You got to cleave the end so it's flat, and you push the two ends into a gel-filled connector, and it's done. But it costs $50 a splice.
Oh, really?
They
have those?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's expensive.
Jeez.
The field connectors are a specialty thing designed they're usually not meant to be permanent. It's meant for repairs.
Mm-hmm.
As a repair, you want to do actual bonding where you melt the fiber together.
Right.
And with that, you need a special machine. I mean, this is not, you can't do this with
it's not a crimper. Let's put it this way. It's not a crimper.
No, it's not a crimper. Not a crimper.
Yeah.
So, and I have no idea what, I think it's multi-mode fiber. I doubt they'd be using single mode fiber for these runs, but I don't know what they use. There looks like there's more than two fiber in there. I couldn't tell by the picture.
There are two.
To see. It's only two?
There are two fibers. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. I mean, it's
the one that comes from the street to your house.
Yes, is fiber.
Is two of them. The rest of them are the rest of the cable, the one that runs on the side of the road, has a bunch more. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But
I need to look at the technology they use. I want to see what the outside plant looks like. Years ago, I got a job being the technical marketing person for a new product that Nortel was coming out with that was a PON, a passive optical network, which was meant for neighborhoods. And we had already had all this optical infrastructure for commercial stuff, but they were going to build it for neighborhoods. And I interviewed for this job, got the job just before we went to our sales conference in December or early January, whatever year, or 2001, something like that. And I was going to come back and take this job. It was exciting. I mean, I knew all about fiber. I worked on DWDM networks and all this stuff. I was really excited about it. And go away, and a lot happened at the sales conference to say that the company was in trouble. Came back, and I'm waiting. I said, because the guy said, you'll have your offer when you get back. Tried to email the guy. He's gone.
Mhm.
They laid off the whole organization while I was gone. And it's like, thank God I didn't take that job.
Oh.
Because the product, they said, well, this was 20 years ago. A passive optical network for the neighborhood. Oh.
Hannah lives in East Raleigh, and the only option she had for since she bought the house was Spectrum. So 2-3 months ago, no, maybe more, maybe 3-4 months ago, AT&T told her, "Hey, we have fiber in your neighborhood." She asked me. I said, "Yep, go for it." So she got the 500, 5x5, and it was because you have to rent. They charge you for the modem. It cost her $60 some. She called yesterday. She said, "Dad, I made a decision." I said, "What?" She said, just got an email that Google Fiber is available.
Ooh,
I'm gonna switch."
yeah, good choice.
So it's gonna cost
The-
a few bucks more, but it's $70. That's it. What are you gonna say?
It's not that they're like a world difference, right? From
Right.
AT&T.
Right.
The main difference with that I found with Google compared to the others
Mhm.
is there are no surprises with this company.
Right.
It's like you are getting exactly what you are told,
Mhm.
and you are getting exactly what you expect.
Yeah.
Which is refreshing.
Nice. You don't see
That's
that
all.
today. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's as simple as that. They're not doing anything that different. They're providing the service, but if they told you something will happen, it'll happen. If they told you something happened, it's exactly what happened. If something happened, they come and tell you, "Hey, look, this happens." It's like simple. And this simple, I don't know if it's a philosophy or whatever. I like them.
Yeah. The
They're
only thing I didn't like about it is a Google salesperson was in the neighborhood,
Mm.
and when they installed AT&T fiber, they did not bury the line.
Well, I
Wait,
didn't
wait.
deal with that.
So
yeah.
so she said she told the guy that, "Yeah, I've got fiber from AT&T, but it's laying on top of the ground." He said, "Oh, AT&T is not true fiber. It's fiber connected to copper." And I said, "Wait a second."
Well, he's a salesperson. I don't.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't have to deal with these, so
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But
yeah,
I'm talking about the service. But I
yeah.
understand what you're saying.
So yeah, absolutely. No, it's fine. And last week, when was it? The internet went down. AT&T went down, and it was a big chunk of the area that was and switched over to Google Fiber, and everything was kept on chugging. So yeah, it'll be nice for her to have that. And she said she likes the mesh that they have, because that will give her better. With me over here when I check from the phone speed test, when I'm on the AT&T link, I get about almost 300 on the phone.
Okay.
When I'm on Google Fiber, I get about 70. The difference between those two is, remember, AT&T is their own modem and their own wireless. It's probably uh, Wi-Fi 6. I'm assuming. I don't know. The one on the Google side is I'm using my own router. That's the TP-Link, the 1750.
Okay.
That's the only. I'm guessing
The
that
the older router.
Yeah.
It could be. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's still fast enough. It's fine. That's on the phone. Now, when I check it over here on this computer here, it's 1 gig. No doubt. So the Wi-Fi is something. But hey, it's more seasoned than the AT&T services. But AT&T called and said, yeah, we are out, and they called again to tell me that it was back in. Not just the text. Actually, somebody called. So I don't know if I'm the only one in the neighborhood with AT&T fiber, but it was interesting.
I think probably 10% to 15% of my neighborhood has switched over. You just see the truck everywhere now, putting in the AT&T fiber.
So what's holding you back?
My lawn, I don't know where I want them to run it yet.
Oh.
And I don't want it laying out there. I have a piece of coax laying there now because I cut the Spectrum cable when I was digging because it was marked. Wasn't marked where it didn't run where it was marked. Put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I was digging and I nicked the cable. I didn't cut through it.
Right.
Nicked it, and that was enough to screw up the cable.
Yeah.
So there's probably something in the sheath that grounded it when I knocked it out. But I ran my own. I had a piece of RG56, and I just laid it across, and I put terminators on the end, and it's working. I just have to make sure I remember to move it when I cut the grass. But it's just laying there. I mean, it's working fine. I have no problems. So,
you have, but don't you have a line of bushes when you face the house on the left side?
Yeah, but it's not much left there. There's a couple of crepe myrtles, and my neighbor has some stuff. I don't have anything there anymore.
All right.
And that's where I had those trees removed. And I took out a lot of the roots that were exposed. And there's still some older versions of the Spectrum cable laying there. I don't know which ones are active. It's not.
Yeah,
not
I
from
would
my
run
house.
it. I would run it on the side, on that side, on the left side.
Yeah, what I plan to do, because I'm going to fill that in with dirt because it's all eroded away. It's like I said, I'm going to run that, whether it's a piece of hose or whatever, I'm going to run with a pull string in them for them to pull the cable up through, so that they don't have to bury it. Because if they try to bury it, it's not going to go well. So I'd rather have something there permanent that they can use over and over again that I know is buried deep enough that it's not going to get tagged. If I ever run an aerator, for example, if the cable, the way they laid it, other versions of it in the past, it was just a couple inches below the surface. So they could run the aerator through there and wipe out the cable.
Yeah, it's about 8 inches down.
It's got to be, at least.
No, it is. The machines that they're running now is 8 inches
down.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put it deeper than that.
Oh. All right. I've got one more thing here to talk about. The Salesforce CEO and owner of Time Magazine, Mark Benioff, sees a common thread of what ails America today. Deception that is allowed to spread like wildfire on Facebook. The digital revolution really kind of has the world in its grip. And in that grip, you can see the amount of mistrust and misinformation that is happening. Look at how it's affecting the world. You can talk about the political process. You can talk about climate. You can talk about pandemic. He said, in each and every major topic, it gets connected back to the mistrust that is happening, and especially the amount of it being seeded by the social networks, and it must stop now. Some of these social media companies, especially Facebook, you can see that they don't really care that their platform is filled with all of this disinformation, he said. The tech billionaire called for Congress to crack down on Facebook's disinformation problem. I own time and I am held accountable for what is produced on my platform, he said, adding that other media outlets are also held accountable. In regards to Facebook, they are not held accountable, so they do not have an incentive from the government. That has to change. He urged Congress to review existing laws to try and stop the level of deceit happening on social networks. And a lot of us, we've been seeing that a lot, right? I mean, you can't believe anything anymore. I'm starting a new show on Nissan Communications with Mark Markley, who was talking about recovery, drug recovery, opioids recovery. And now he's talking about COVID. And I told him, I said, look, whatever you say about COVID today, this way or that way, most people don't believe it because they've been proven again and again that media does not give you the right information. And now you are part of the media. So if you are an extreme on one side or another, you're wasting your time. You're not helping anybody, in my opinion.
What did he say?
He says, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. He said, but right now, that's what I can talk about. I said, that's fine. I just want you to know, because he told me, he said that YouTube is censoring his videos. That's too bad, but that's what's happening is when you are an extremist. And I haven't listened to be able to tell if he is or is not. I mean, he's got the right to his own ideas, but it's just it is amazing that we don't believe anything we hear on the media, whether it be the networks or it'll be on the internet. You have to read 15 different sources to put something together, and then you have to decide for yourself whether, okay, is it true or is it not?
You have to also understand in documents what a citation is and how it works and footnoting and all that stuff to take advantage of it, because that stuff's important.
Yeah.
To go back, and when you see all these numbers, you read an article and you see a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. It's there for a reason. It's there for you to go and take a look at the source of where that person got the quote or whatever. So it's important that you be willing to go and digest all this stuff and see where get it from the person who said it. Don't get it from the person who interpreted it. So, yeah, it's a problem.
What are you, Spence? I'm just saying you notice here.
Oh, about Costco? Yeah, I mean, I heard the announcement yesterday or the day before.
Really?
Costco said they're going to start to limit certain products because of supply chain issues. They said they have paper towels sitting on boats that they can't get to.
Yeah.
They said the cost of container shipments has skyrocketed.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
And they're bidding and fighting over who gets the container.
Yep.
And
There are not enough
the ships-
drivers.
There are not enough drivers.
Yeah.
And those jobs, if you work in the LA port, those driver jobs pay
Good money.
unbelievable money.
Yeah.
I mean, $50 an hour to drive.
Yep.
I mean, it's just incredible. But
Yep.
yeah, it's yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Anyway.
As long
Hey,
as they don't
Spence.
put limits on potato chips.
You were saying, Gal?
Well, I just learned something.
Yeah.
It's today is the 46th anniversary of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 46.
So Frankenfurter, is he available?
You do know they have a
sequel.
monthly show in Raleigh. I think the
Oh
reality.
yeah, at the I know the theater you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have it on a regular basis. I didn't know until recently that there was actually a sequel.
Yeah, there is a sequel.
Yeah.
It's
Not good though, right?
first of all, the first one you cannot say it's good, right?
It's weird.
It has become cult, but
It's not production quality.
it's not. I mean, in any way, right? The songs are great. It was a fun stage show and a fun movie, and the sequel is similar. It's like it's fun, but it's unless there's a following, nobody will watch it again.
There is a following, I'm sure.
For the first one, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The second one is more of the hardcore. What's his name? Richard. I don't remember the author, right? It's the guy who plays the butler. He wrote the show for stage, and the music is his. So yeah. So yeah, he made a sequel, Shock Treatment, in '81, but it's in no way right. It's not a recommended view.
Is it still Susan Sarandon and
No.
Who's
I
the
don't
other
think
guy?
No, it's not. Well, it's not. It's like I don't think any of the characters are.
came back?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's like another one like this or something like that. It's like it's not the same plot, but it's the same narrative. The same concept. Look, this is way before IP sequels, right? Intellectual process property.
Yeah.
And,
I made myself watch it all the way through once so I could know what it was. But I can say I
no, you
can't wait to watch it again.
you have to watch it in the theater. It is.
I didn't watch it in the theater. I was invited. I was invited to go to it one time and I didn't go.
Okay, yeah. Spence. So just know these are midnight shows. Okay, so
I realize that's why.
I am. We're gonna set up a date and we're gonna go.
All right.
You're gonna feel a teenager again.
Do I have to dress up?
No, you don't have to.
Oh, okay.
Be warned, you will be called a virgin because the people who go for the first time are virgins.
Oh no! Yeah, you get singled out. Oh boy.
It's a fun experience, especially if you are able to put yourself in a mindset of a young person. Because if you watch it as a grumpy old man, you're not going to enjoy it.
No, I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah, that's why I'm suggesting it.
I mean, it came out when I was young. I mean, it wasn't like it was. I was in my early. What was it? 70? What? 70?
75.
Yeah,
Listen to you talking like you're old now.
I was 20 years old. I mean, it wasn't.
Look, I saw it. I was born 76, a year after this movie came out. I saw it at age 16 for the first time in the cinema. My mom, of all people, took me to see it. I think for her, it was the first time she saw it in the cinema. She heard about it, and she I don't think she was expecting that experience. But I can tell you, we got hooked. And later on, I took a bunch of friends to it, which of course they've never heard of the movie at all. and I took them, and they were hooked as well, and then we became regular.
And
So
you were
it was
and
it
you
was
were
a fun.
5 years old. You did that?
No, 16.
Oh.
At age 16, that's when we started going to this. So, yeah. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Dave is asking, Rocky.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard of it, please do not stream it. Do not watch it at home for the first time. Find a cinema close to you that is showing this. Trust me, there is a cinema next to you in the 15-20 minutes drive radius that shows it once a month. It's a phenomenon. 46 years and it's still playing and playing constantly. If you haven't heard about it, you research it. Don't watch the movie online. You won't get it. Trust me. It's a ridiculous movie. It has nothing to do about the movie. It's about the viewing experience in the cinema. So,
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anything else, guys? It's about this time.
nope.
All right. Well, and thanks, Gal. It was fun. And Spence, thanks.
You're welcome.
And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dina, Arlette and Micha, Eleanor, Sarid. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Again, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick does his news show on WAAV in Wilmington, 980 The Wave. And on Tuesday, 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do their infection podcast or survival game on Twitch. Just go to Twitch and look for Infection Podcast, one word. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.